Hello, my name is William Morris, and I'm going to talk to you guys today about childhood obesity. This is for my Sociology 204 class at the Oregon Institute of Technology. First, I'm just going to give you guys a little overview of what I'm going to be talking about. The following is an overview of questions that will be answered during this presentation. What is childhood obesity? Is it bad in the United States? Who does it affect? Who caused it? What do people think about it? And how do the three sociological perspectives explain the problem? What is obesity? Well, obesity is based on a person's BMI, or body mass index. The CDC views obesity as defined as at or above the 95th percentile for children of the same age, and they are referring to BMI. BMI greater than or equal to 25% is considered overweight. BMI greater than or equal to 30% is considered obese. 1 out of 4 children are considered obese in the United States. In 2012, actually 1/3 of children in the United States are considered to be overweight and obese, because there's a difference between overweight and being obese. So combined, that's about 33.3% of the United States, which is a problem. Childhood obesity has more than doubled in children and quadrupled in adolescents in the past 30 years. This trend appears to be continuing upward. So what are some health concerns? Well, obesity can lead to the following health concerns: diabetes, heart disease, which is the leading cause of death in the United States, hyperthyroidism, joint problems, respiratory trouble, fatigue, some cancers, and mental illness, which stems from bullying. There is also a high chance that obesity continues with a child into their adulthood, so more problems can occur. So what causes obesity? Well, literally, an excessive caloric intake based on a child's activity level, behavior, and some genetic factors play a role in obesity. The genetic factors are the only non-preventable way to become obese. People commonly blame parents, schools, processed foods, and technology for the increased occurrence of obesity. I'll talk about parents, schools, foods, and technology in the following slides. Schools. Many people believe schools do not educate students on the risk of being obese. They have health classes, but nothing that really emphasizes that being obese is really unhealthy. They serve unhealthy, unbalanced meals to students every day. As you can see in the picture, there are nachos, fries, chocolate milk, and what looks to be some kind of gelatin or pudding, none of which are healthy. They also sell junk food and soda to children on school grounds. Pop-Tarts, honey buns, anything you can think of, chips, all of which are unhealthy to students. They sell directly to their students in the cafeterias. Some people like to blame the food that's out there. Healthy food does tend to be more expensive. Sugar is relatively cheap, so companies can make these sugary products and sell them for cheap, meaning more people will buy them. Soda is one of the leading problems. The average soda has around 35 grams of sugar, as you can see on the image to the right. Soda is sold so regularly and so readily. And advertisements for sodas and things like soda are seen at all different children events, making people want to buy them at that moment. Junk food has become a norm in the United States. Fast food is cheap and easy. Instead of making a meal, which takes, an hour or hours to do, people can go out and buy already made food or food that can be made in a couple minutes. It's usually really unhealthy for them, and it's fast, and it gives them more time to do other things that they might want to do. Some people blame the technology. 66% of children aged 18 to 17 years old have a cell phone. 79% have another piece of technology, if not a phone. This could be an iPad, a tablet, an iPod, or maybe a gaming system. Studies showed children, on average, spend more time on technology than most other activities. As a direct correlation, sports involvement has declined in schools and communities because people, like children, are more into technology. Children are not as active. This less activity, as we've talked about on a previous slide, and an increased caloric intake leads to obesity. The number one source that people blame for the increased childhood obesity rate in the United States is parents. And this is a combination of technology and the foods that they're giving them. Obesity occurs in adults just as often, if not more, than in children. Your metabolism slows down as you get older. Different factors come into play. You're likely less active physically. So the problems don't really go away. Children, especially those under the age of 13, have little control over what they eat. Parents, as you can see above, will take their kids to fast food places or give them processed foods because they may be busy and they don't want to take the time to make them or give them healthy foods. And this is not a good thing. Processed foods have become so readily available, parents rely on them more than ever. Parents put so much on their plate, and maybe they have a meeting they have to go to, or they have something they need to do. They can just pop a meal in the microwave or go to a fast food joint and have dinner taken care of really quick. And this next part has to do with technology. Children do not want to monitor their own time. They don't want to sit there and think about how it's so bad for them to be watching TV or playing video games, and I don't blame them. It's fun. Parents should be the ones who are monitoring these children and making them do activities and not letting them sit in front of a screen all day. I did a couple interviews with 3 different students, asked them what they thought the cause of childhood obesity is. The first, Chase D, is 21, and he's a biology health science major at the Oregon Institute of Technology. And he said, I quote, "I think a lot of factors go into the cause of obesity. First, you have to look at how lazy kids have become. As a kid, I played outside and played sports. All kids do now is play Xbox and watch Netflix. It's depressing. Parents that let their kids sit in front of the screen all day are also to blame. How can you not make your children be active? I think the obesity problem is known, but very few people act on it." End quote. Next, I interviewed Ariel H., who is 21 and is a psychology major at the Oregon Institute of Technology. Parents cause their children to be obese. As a parent, I make sure my baby eats all different food groups, whether or not she likes it. Activity is also important. I could easily turn on cartoons and let my baby watch them all day, but is that healthy? No. Getting her out and being active is healthy. End quote. Next, I interviewed Sadie H., who is 20 and is also a psychology major at the Oregon Institute of Technology. She said, and I quote, "Isn't it obvious? It's technology. Don't get me wrong, I love technology and I use it every day, but it has done a lot of damage on kids. They sit inside and get lazy because their whole world is right in their hands." End quote. As you can see, there's a common trend. Most people blame technology, parents, and foods for the cause of obesity. Next, I want to talk about the 3 sociological perspectives. I want to first define them, and then I want to talk about how they might view the problem. First, let's talk about symbolic interactionism. It explains people's behaviors in terms of what it means to them and what they learn in life. Next, let's talk about functionalism. Functionalism looks at other sociological institutions to determine how they are influential on social issues. Last, let's talk about the conflict theory. The conflict theory explains behavior in society on how it affects other people, specifically person or persons in power. So first, let's talk about functionalism. To look at this perspective, you have to look at the groups that would be involved with the obesity rates of children. First, there's the younger generation, naive and immature, so being obese doesn't concern them much more than being picked on in school. They don't think about being obese. Another system involved in it is the education system. Are they providing enough education about obesity to help young children understand the consequences? Are they giving healthy lunches to students? These are questions you must ask yourself. Another group is the government. Unhealthy foods, like soda, make up huge billion-dollar companies that help the economy. One would have to question, is the government really trying to help kids be healthy, or is the income more important? Next, I'm going to talk about symbolic interactionism and how they would view this. Someone taking this symbolic interactionism view will look at the obesity problem among children as being caused by the symbols people make for the different aspects that cause obesity. Some symbols that could be changed here is the symbol of being overweight. Years ago, it is arguable that people were more physically active than they are now. Advances in technology have made life so much less physically demanding, so weight gain can occur and people do not judge obese people as much as they used to because they could still get a lot done. The symbol of advertisement is another problem. People see logos, such as Pepsi, at almost every event in the nation because they sponsor just about everything. Seeing this advertisement makes people trust and want to buy the products, regardless of the health side effects. If such brands are viewed as trusted symbols, people will not question them and change will not occur. Last, I'm going to talk about how a conflict theorist would view this problem. The conflict theory has to do with power. So I think it relates to big money and big companies in the United States economy. The government is in debt, and I believe large companies like Pepsi Cola, General Mills, etc. make a lot of money from the unhealthy products they release. Someone looking deeply from the conflict theory perspective would question what motives the government among many businesses have by supporting companies that make unhealthy foods. The only efforts these companies actually make to have their consumers be healthy is offer diet, low-calorie options that are hardly better for people. Here's a list of some of the references I used to make my presentation. And thank you very much for listening.